framed fake love jihad case leads to arrest of Muslim boyfriend. Indian police have recently arrested 2 men in the state of Uttar Pradesh for hiring a woman to falsely accuse a Muslim businessman named Qureshi of love jihad and RAPE. I do not say the R word on YouTube because YouTube hates it, but obviously we know what I'm talking about. Love jihad is a prevalent conspiracy theory in India. This theory alleges that Muslim men coax unsuspecting Hindu women into marriage only to convert them to Islam. Their alleged goal in doing so is to increase the population ratio in favor of Muslims. In 2020, the state of Uttar Pradesh passed the, quote, Prohibition of Unlawful Conversion or of Religion Ordinance, a decree meant to stamp out, quote unquote, love jihad, but in actuality, it effectively criminalizes interfaith relationships and marriages. One of the arrested men was identified as the district vice president of the BJP Youth Wing organization. Initially, a woman filed a complaint against Qureshi, stating that Qureshi had lured her into believing that they would get married by introducing himself as a Hindu man. Later, she admitted she had lied and was hired by the men from the right-wing outfit. According to the local superintendent of police, the plot to frame Qureshi seems to be an old rivalry related to financial agreements between the parties. So this was a very important story to cover. And first thing I want to say off the bat is that when I was doing research on this story, I did find a lot of discrepancies on the details between what different outlets were reporting. Based on my research, I found the reporting by Al Jazeera to be the most credible because they reportedly went to go interview the woman who made this false claim to get her side of the story. And also their story is more consistent and there's a more consistent through line throughout their reporting. So it made the most sense to me. So I am going to defer to what Al Jazeera reported on this. And if that is different than other sources, like I said, there is discrepancy. So I'm just stating all this for the sake of transparency, that maybe between these discrepancies, some of what I inferred from this news might be incorrect. So that's just a disclaimer. But, okay, so based on what was reported in Al Jazeera, which I found to be the most credible, and again, some of the details are different than what is reported elsewhere. The person who filed the complaint was a woman named Anudeep Kaur, 24-year-old Sikh woman, who was from this Muslim man's neighborhood. And they had been in a relationship at one point in time. And then one day, this woman's father is called to the police station. And he goes to the police station. And he isn't back home for several hours. So according to this woman, she went to the police station to go find him. And when she was there, she found her father surrounded by a gang of Hindu right-wing goons who basically pressured her. They're like, we're not going to let you go. We're not going to let your father go until you file a complaint against this man. And after over 5 hours of dealing with this group, she finally complied just to get out of the ordeal. And then based on this interview, according to her, ever since then, she has been trying to raise to the authorities that this is all fake. And it was very interesting because it also went into the personal cost that she paid within her community because of this whole incident. And this accused man ended up spending 9 months in jail over completely made up false BS, all under the accusation
are they going to pay him
love
something,
jihad.
Or are they going to compensate the man?
Based on everything I've read so far, there's been not a single mention of compensation.
Okay. Just 9 months of your life for nothing. Just 9 months.
At the time, He was even married to a different woman and had a child. And these Hindu right-wing groups came forward saying that she had been forcibly converted by him, and they used old photos of them together on a Facebook profile page, fake Facebook, that had her name as Janat Qureshi. Because he used to call, when they were in a relationship, he used to call her Jannat, or like Jannah, paradise, heaven.
Is the police going to be like, the police just arrest people and put them in jail, like based on how much evidence? Like, it's just like, what's the standard there? Like, just accusations?
Well, here's the problem, is that this, and again, it varies state to state, but for Uttar Pradesh, this love jihad ordinance, I know it's not actually called love jihad in the title of the law, but we all know what I'm talking about. This love jihad ordinance has the violation of this law being a non-bailable offense. So you have to sit in jail until you get your day in court.
Okay. And the standards are you just get accused and you go to jail?
Essentially.
By the way, guys, like this guy wasn't even quote unquote guilty. Okay, imagine if, like, so basically what we're saying, like, you have to understand is like, oh, this was a wrong arrest, as if this all would have been okay if he was arrested for actually converting a Hindu woman to Islam. Like, this would have been considered illegitimate, like this, like, oh, we're sorry, this was a wrong arrest. But if he actually did convert a Hindu woman to Islam, then this would have been all justified. So yeah, this is a direction where India, well, at least Uttar Pradesh is going, not all of India.
No, love jihad or anti-religious conversion ordinances and laws have been passed in 11 of India's 28 states. That's almost a third of the country.
Wow. And Uttar Pradesh is the largest state,
and most
right?
populous. Most populous.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So I think, yeah, this may affect like a majority of Indians.
The majority.
I'm not going to back up that assertion. I don't know for sure. I haven't looked it up.
There's 200 million people in Uttar Pradesh alone. 200 million.
So crazy.
More than most countries. It's just so state. It's just one of our states, like larger than most countries. Wow.
No, the Muslim population of Uttar Pradesh alone is almost the same as the entire population of like Argentina.
Really? Okay, wow.
I looked it up once. It's crazy. Just the Muslim population. I think one thing I wanted to really talk about with this case and why it's important is because this law just leaves open so many opportunities for people to take out personal vendettas on each other. So I think about how in Pakistan, like, blasphemy laws are weaponized as a means to settle personal disputes and problems. And unfortunately, we've seen more and more of this weaponization of blasphemy in India, especially recently. And then I think of these anti-forced conversion laws as another means with which to pursue taking out personal vendettas against people. Because it's so easy to frame someone under the love jihad laws. This is actually really crazy, and this is really important part of the story. So I'm going to quote the news source. However, unlike other criminal cases in India, the burden of proof does not lie with the prosecution under the love jihad law. The fundamental legal maxim, innocent until proven guilty, does not hold true here. According to the law, this is not in practice. It results this way. This is according to the written words of the law. Proving innocence beyond a reasonable doubt is the responsibility of the person causing the alleged religious conversions and those facilitating it. So it's specifically written into this law is that the burden, it is not innocent until proven guilty. Specifically written into this law is it is guilty until proven innocent. And the burden
why
of
can't
proof
people
is
just go
on
and-
the accused.
So why can't you, like, so this is a weapon for Hindu right-wingers to just go accuse Muslims and just put them in jail. You could just easily put people in jail.
Yeah.
By mere accusations.
By the way, have been people who are not Muslim who do get hit with this anti-forced conversion law. But according to the numbers I have seen, the vast majority of them are Muslim.
Also, just to show you how popular this attitude is among some people in India, we have this person in the live chat who's a Hindu, right? Who's a Hindu, I think far right Hindu, this guy. I'm not sure, like this guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this guy comes here a lot and his views are very in line with far right Hindu people. And I just want, it's really good that he's here to highlight people like that these people actually exist. So Nanda is saying, why only 9 months in jail? And then he also continues and he says, become ex-Muslim to have relationship with Hindu. Otherwise, keep Muslims in jail. So this is an actual demand by some Hindus in India.
Okay, but there was a man who left Islam for his wife to convert to Hinduism, and the Hindu right-wing gang burnt his house down.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be good enough to become ex-Muslim.
No, because to them, you have the Islamic DNA anyways. People saying very casual demand. Okay, something I don't remember saying. It's the same with rape laws. The laws are still being challenged. Well, I mean, the thing is that India's constitution is superior. I mean, this is unconstitutional based on India's, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So India's constitution is like relatively good compared to their state laws, and some of these state laws are obviously against India's constitution. The problem is that it's really difficult to challenge these. Like it takes, like you could introduce a law and ruin people's lives for a decade or so until eventually somebody manages to, I don't know if they are even able to challenge this to the Supreme Court and like get it removed. Like it takes ages. Oh, somebody's saying you're both great. Keep doing what you're doing. Love to all. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate that.
That's so nice.
Asian America saying India is turning into China and Pakistan. Not yet. Don't give up, guys. Don't give up on India, please. Do not give up on India. We have some other comments here that we should highlight. People saying Pakistan has 200 million people. Yeah. So the state of Uttar Pradesh. Yeah, the state of Uttar Pradesh in India has almost the same population as this entirety of the country of Pakistan, and Pakistan is one of the most populated countries in the world. So there's that. Okay, so you want to read this one then?
Oxymoron is saying the mere accusation of sexual assault by a woman gets a man in jail. These laws are severely abused. He was probably charged with that. He was charged with both, and both were false.
Yeah. Yeah, that's false too. Like, just mere accusation, like just accuse people. By the way, to be fair to India, okay, even in advanced countries, it's difficult to challenge something that is against the Constitution. It takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like some people just say like, well, it's against the Constitution, so like as if that automatically eliminates it. You know what I mean? Like, this law cannot exist. It's against the Constitution. As if it's like a code that just automatically auto-deletes everything.
Oh my God, I wish it worked that way. That'd be so great.
Yeah.
It's like it literally just can't even proceed because it just does not compute.
Nope, the law does not work like that, unfortunately.
One thing before we move on to the next news that I wanted to highlight is the woman who was at the center of this. She talked about in this story how, a quote from her is, "Our lives were made political tools." And that really stood out to me. Like, just because she was known to have dated this Muslim guy in the past, like she was used as a means to take out revenge on him, enabled by the ways in which their different group identities are politicized. And she talks about how like she had to leave work because of this, because people started treating her really badly in her community, also because she's now come out as, well, you know, quote unquote come out as like a sexual assault survivor, and the ways that people get mistreated for that, and just how it also really devastated her life as well. It's horrible just to be taking random civilians and have their lives made into political tools like this.
Yeah. Okay, read this one.
Bengali Hindu is saying our constitution is stopping these morons to take our country from taking our country fully, even after ruling for 8 years.
Yeah, you have India has a good constitution. Thanks partly to Dr. Ambedkar, right?
Ambedkar, number one king.
Here's this one. Read this one. This is pretty crazy.
Oh my God. Nanda is saying laws in India should be tough on Muslims to help Muslims become progressive and moderate. Okay, Nanda. There are so many examples in history in the ways in which this has backfired in the worst ways possible. In fact, maybe defer a little bit to some of what Armin talks about in Iran. Because I think you would get exactly the opposite response.
It's the opposite. Even if you're not like a decent human being, which seems like you're not, if you only cared about being anti-Islam, mistreating Muslims increases the faith. Increases the strength of the faith. People become more radical and more Muslim and align with their community more when you mistreat them. If you are actually interested in fighting Islam, the best way to fight Islam is to befriend Muslims, is to treat them as part of the country, not otherize them, not to push them, not to isolate them in their own community, to reach out to them, to share the country with them, to not to treat them like second-class citizens, right? They're not going to. Nobody, like, not that many people are going to leave their ideology because you're like, oh yeah, because like, do you really think like, oh yeah, Islam is wrong, I should become progressive because these people are treating me badly? They're going to be like, they're going to double down. Like, you have no idea. Okay, this is not you about trying to make Muslims progressive. This is you. It's about you hating people and you just want to see them suffer. Okay, you're not a very good person. To say the least, and you just enjoy seeing people that you do not like suffer. You're a bigot, basically. And he also considered, Nanda is also saying right-wingers are bigger supporters of ex-Muslims in India. Okay, well, good thing we're not here tribal here. I don't want that support, okay? We don't need that. I know some ex-Muslims would want that, but I'm not going to be like, if fascists are supporting me, I'm not going to be pro-fascist because they're supporting me, okay? Like, you're like, oh, you should support these fascists. They're supporting you. Well, screw them. I'm trying not to swear because YouTube doesn't like that. But here, let's.
Oxymoron is saying, to be fair, love jihad laws look good on paper. Sudden change in name and religion looks suspicious. The problem is that they don't have the data to back up the right wingers' claims.
Okay, so first of all, it looks suspicious. The government getting involved in things looking suspicious, especially when it comes to religion. First of all, even if it wasn't religion, government like, this looks suspicious. So it doesn't even look good on paper. This looks suspicious, so we should make it illegal. That is like, you're making a police state. You're involving, it can't be like the government should only get involved if there's a complaint. It cannot just preemptively come in like, okay, something smells fishy here, so we're going to like criminalize this. This is too much government involvement. This is too much government getting involved in people's personal lives, right? This is surveillance state, okay? You can't really like, oh, we need to check everything. This is the arguments, the oxymoron. I'm not accusing you of being a fascist, but this is how fascists eventually get control over people's personal lives. Like, oh, this looks sussy. This something looks there. We just have to if we don't get involved here and stop this could potentially lead into this harm or that harm. That's not how the law should work. The law should be like, somebody comes and makes a complaint and accuses somebody of committing a harm, and then the government comes and investigates. You can't just come and preemptively make something a crime. And especially when it comes to religion, like this is like obviously anti-secular. So like, you cannot do this because of your religion. As soon as you say like you cannot, so here's the thing: it's secular to say just because it's your religion, that means you can't do this. That's secular, okay? But when you say the government comes and says you can't do this because you have this religion, that is the very opposite of secularism, right? The government is getting involved in deciding what people can and cannot do because of their religion. And you're like, oxymoron, I know like you're somebody that values, I think, India's secularism. So how could you support? No, he doesn't?
No.
Okay, I thought he does.
No, like explicitly no.
Okay, well, never mind then. Okay. It doesn't mention religion on paper. It's literally about people changing their religion.
What doesn't mention religion on paper? Because the Uttar Pradesh law is literally called the Prohibition of Conversion by Religion Ordinance. Yeah,
maybe. Well, it says not. It's the title. It's not in the body. Is it in the body?
Like, I don't know, man.
Like, what are you talking about, Oxymoron? That's the name of the law.
They do phrase it in certain ways to make it as constitutional as possible, and like as difficult to challenge as possible by exactly that being like, well, it doesn't talk about any specific community on paper. People are like, well, we know what you're doing. Don't act like we're stupid, okay? Atheist Republic needs your help. We've been the target of many legal attacks by Hindu nationalists ever since our founder, Armin Navabi, blasphemed against Hindu deities. We have retained legal counsel to help us defend our access to our community in India. We have started a fundraiser that will help us afford to tackle many legal issues, including judicial harassment and censorship. Whatever you can contribute will go a long ways in helping us in this fight. Link in the description below.